All right, let's talk about some conventions held over the weekend, the DFL and the GOP. So both the DFL and the GOP held their party conventions that happened this weekend. And while the DFL nominations largely went as planned, the GOP did see a bit of a surprise with Kendall Qualls winning his endorsement in his run. And here again, after a very busy weekend, to sort of break this all down, is Fox 9 political analyst Blois Olson. Blois, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. You know, I've done this a couple times in my life. And
What's another one?
What's another one? There were a couple naps yesterday, but I'm back at it.
Okay, back at it again today. Fresh face on a Monday. So yeah, you were in the house. What would you say, were sort of the big takeaways from this weekend?
I think the big takeaways were that for Republicans, they have kind of shifted. There's still obviously a very pro-Trump party. But this was a ticket, an all-male ticket that they endorsed. They're all veterans. So I think the whole patriotism thing was a big part of the convention. And the one thing I would say is they're very anti-institution, even perceived insider. Kendall Qualls, one of his key things was he referred to Lisa Dameth and her supporters from the legislature. And he said it again this morning in an interview that, we don't want insiders like legislators running our party. And that's a very different spirit. And that's the outsider message that he's decided to run with. And it'll be interesting to see how that unifies the party.
Yeah, and we had the DFL chair on just a few minutes ago. Wasn't sure if you were able to hear that, but he sort of talked about how things sort of went as planned for the DFL side. And just to talk a little bit more about the GOP side with Kendall Qualls, it seemed like it might have come as a surprise with that endorsement.
No, I mean, I don't think it was a surprise, or it certainly wasn't shocking. Look, he led in certain straw polls throughout the process.
Okay.
It was, if Speaker Dameth didn't have a big enough lead in the first 3 or 4 ballots, then she was going to have a tough time holding that lead. And then the variable was, what did supporters of Mike Lindell and other candidates do? And they shifted to Qualls. The Lindell team made a very significant, visible piece where Kendall Qualls sign was held up by Mike Lindell's campaign manager after Mike Lindell was eliminated. And so that was a signal, we want to run against Kendall Qualls in a primary. That's typical, I think, convention politics, but it was that then showed that Dameth's lead wasn't big enough to hold off the surge after Mike Lindell dropped out. And so now in the next, probably 29 hours, we'll find out if Lisa Dameth decides to run in a primary because of some of the irregularities there.
Yeah, I was just about to get into that with some of the problems from the electronic voting system. It seemed to have lasted for several hours, some issues with the clicker, right? Do you think that this is something that she will bring up?
I think it's worth bringing up. I think it's an easy, valid reason for her to run in a primary. And, look, she had a strong showing at the convention. I think there's also the idea that they have a competitive U.S. Senate race, that gives them 2 primaries to drive voters out. So Michelle Tafoya running against Adam Schwarzy on the Republican side of that primary. So we're going to have 2 very competitive Senate races on the DFL, one on the DFL side, one on the Republican side, and then probably a competitive Republican governor's race. And there's a spirit in the Republican Party right now about kind of breaking the endorsement spell, because their endorsed candidates traditionally win primaries, but there's a lot of people who want to try to break that because they don't want these conventions to matter as much.
Plus, I did want to ask you about this because another big headline from this weekend, Saturday morning, GOP members held a moment of silence for Derek Chauvin before opening their business for the day. Can you tell us about that, what happened, and sort of the response now?
Well, so I wasn't in the room when that happened. I heard about it. Yeah. I would just say it was pretty quick. I think somebody rose to a microphone, said, "Point of order, let's do this." The chair recognized them, and they did it. That was all that was done at the convention.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, we did ask the DFL chair about that, and yeah, he had quite a bit to say. He had quite a bit to say.
Well, yeah, no.
Just,
I mean,
just
I think,
the response.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're going to respond.
Of course,
it's going to be a story. But I think back to the DFL convention. I mean, they have, just like the Republicans, there is a major faction in that party that is anti-institutional right now, anti-corporate, anti-insider. And they saw that in the endorsement of Amy Klobuchar, because, somebody to get 30% that nobody knew, nearly 30% of that vote in that convention, says that they had the same kind of sentiment as the Mike Lindell supporters at the Republican convention at the DFL convention too.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Looking ahead to the primaries. Hopefully you can get some rest for this week. How's your week looking?
You don't want to know.
Oh, no. I thought you were going to be able to get some more naps in. Maybe a full
No,
nap?
there's no naps during the week. There's no naps during the week. But maybe next weekend I'll catch up.
Okay, maybe next weekend. Well, we appreciate your time. Thank you for fitting us in.
No problem. Talk to you soon.
All right.